end of the series on the golden rules to really rebrand, your identity and also create a great website that converts and drives sales. So the last of this series is on storytelling. I'm going to talk about storytelling and how the power of telling stories can really help you not only be remembered, but also create such a great love affair with your brand. Let's get started. Let's talk about storytelling. Storytelling quite often not enough really used, I say not often, but not oftenly used. And I want to show you how you can use that effectively in terms of driving engagement, driving a love affair with your brand, so people really come to your website and love to read. And it's so easy. I think quite often we stay so much in irrational, especially when it comes to content, but actually also telling stories. And people love to tell stories of people they can relate to. So you can use that to drive more of your audience and more of your customers, of your prospects, then even better. So if you think about the example, think about life before Airbnb. And people never imagined staying in a stranger's house and using it. But I think what was powerful, it was not so much about the accommodation, it was more about the new connection, the new relationship, or who they were staying with in terms of culture and so much more that was shared. I think about the stories really, I think this is where I want you to think about your product beyond just the functionality, but really what does the product allow people to be, and what kind of impact it has on people's life. If you can articulate that, you have a winning brand, and really just so powerful. Again, same thing, if you think about the brand Apple, an Apple product, there's a lot of the iPhones, there's a lot of mobile phones that are probably better than iPhone, but the reason why, Apple is probably one of the leaders in that space. Obviously, they have great functionality. Let's not say that iPhone is a bad product, but I think they understand exactly what are the main, articulating the main, pain points of your target audience, and obviously battery life, as we spend so much time, hours and hours on the phone, not as much as we used to do before. So again, something, talking about emotion and talking about storytelling. And I think it's interesting. This one was an interesting campaign in Canada, if I remember. Yes, for Uber motherhood. So talking about the stories about, car accident that we don't necessarily think about. But again, how Uber also supporting this campaign, towards supporting, motherhood and so much more. What's very interesting, and I'll say that very often, is probably why I explain, I would say, is probably I can explain the success of Adele. People are more receptive to negative emotion than positive emotion. So very interesting. So again, Adele, if you think about some of the best love songs that we love, they're actually sad songs. So we think in terms of how can you also use negative emotions to communicate, not always negative, but a mixture of that, especially for campaign, to say something right. So I want to leave you with one of the persons that I really admire, because I used to work in a fashion space before working in technology, is Karl Lagerfeld. And he says something that really resonated with me. And so you must always surprise. When you stop surprising your audience and you stay still and you feel that they're never going to leave you, that's when you die. And I always think about examples such as Blockbuster and all these brands, who lost their way and, were leading and no longer leading, Kodak whatsoever, this because they were always for that thing to stay the same. We're in a high pace by nature of the world evolving, so nothing serves if because you are number one today that you're going to be number one tomorrow. So always find ways to stay relevant to your industry, but also to your customers. So we'll always talk about you. So this is the end of the series. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to share it, to like it, and tell everybody about it. See you soon.